Hi everyone, it's mayDad here from 𝙈𝙮 Health and Wellness, and tonight I've got a special guest who's come in to do a little talk to us. But before I introduce you to my great friend, I want to share with you why I chose the word 𝙈𝙮 Health and Wellness. About 20 years ago, I was working as a manager in a company that had about 200 contracts with about 10 managers, and I was one of those managers that managed 18 of the contracts and had about 40 employees working under me. And what I'd noticed while I was working there for the time that I was there, which was about 22 months, that the workers were mistreated, they were unappreciated, the environment was poor, and the worst thing is that they were abused and they were paid badly. So I felt like, you know what? I don't need to see this no more. I'm going to go and open up my own company. And in doing so, I'm going to take these guys who are abused or mistreated or unappreciated and who are undervalued and pay them more to work for me. And in doing so, I'm going to send them to school and empower them to get degrees, to get qualifications such as dentist. Some of them went to cooking, human resources, and most of these students were young Nepalese, Indian, Bangladesh, or Chinese, Asian students that I'd employed from the company that I was working in. Naturally, as soon as I left, they wanted to follow me to whatever I was doing. Unfortunately, I couldn't employ them straight away, but I built my business. I went from one contract to 5 contracts in no time. And from that, I built it to I had about 12 contracts and 9 workers for me. And all those workers went on to get degrees, get certified, and become dentists or other qualified professionals. But there was nothing more empowering and more rewarding for me as a business owner after being in business for 20 years than one of those students coming to me and saying to me, mayDad, it's been a great experience working for you, but unfortunately, I've got my degree and I'm going to move on and work as a dentist. However, I've got another Nepalese friend to fill my spot. I have never been so rewarded personally in business as a business owner, as a boss, and a director of a company in any way than those moments that I've just shared with you. But without any further ado, let me introduce you to our guest tonight. His name is MikeJustice James. Mike, welcome to tonight's Zoom.
Thank you, mayDad. Thank you, brother mayDad. I appreciate you for having me.
Oh, it's great to see you. We've talked for a long time. We met each other some time ago at an event where we were both studying our behavioral science and to become health and wellness. It was part of our journey. We've been friends ever since, and we've kept in touch on internet, by phone, and Facebook and social media, and we've always been supporting each other. So it's great to have you here, connect with you again, and build that connection and that bond that we already have, and get to know a little bit about the great things that you've been doing.
Yeah, thank you, brother. No, it's been a great connection that we've had. So I appreciate you, doing what you do and staying consistent and doing great things in the health and wellness space and everything you've been doing in the boxing space, the fitness industry. So yeah, man, I see you and salute you. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. But without the great support of people around, I think nothing this would be possible. And I'm so lucky to have people like Nadia, who's helping me and supporting me on the back end of this and teaching me how to facilitate it all. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you've got to share tonight. Mike, so wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what got you into becoming a health and wellness coach and learning and studying behavioral science.
Yeah, I guess good question, man. And it's kind of complex. There's an individual level for me and also a collective level. I think individually, all through high school, I was sort of that person that people went to and came to and asked questions and gave advice. For some reason, I was able to tap into some kind of wisdom and knowledge and help people out, just, I guess, through lived experiences that I'd been through, living in different countries and being mixed race and just having sort of insights into different experiences of the world, right? So this sort of fell on me naturally in that way. And I was, asked to mentor people when I was in grade 10 and that kind of stuff, even though I didn't have my life together by any stretch of the imagination. But, some people thought that I did or whatever and asked me to mentor their family and that kind of stuff. So that was always a thing. And then, really ultimately, from a collective perspective, I guess when we look at the world and where we're at right now, there's a lot going on. We've taught a lot of different lessons around things from, men don't cry, for example. We're being gaslit to repress our emotions. And then this comes out in all kind of toxic behavior from, trying to prove that you're a man through, toxic, through consuming substances, substance abuse, self-medication, violence, anger, all this, all these undesirable things. And, being a womanizing, for example, which was one for me, which was like, yeah, to be a man, you have to have, X amount of women and all these kind of things that you're taught. Because in a way you're repressed, we were repressed, we were taught to repress our emotions and not to cry, not to feel. And I say that to say in a bigger scale as well, it's led to many different social ailments, all the way up into war, I believe. And people would, as I say, self-medicate, turn to other things. And two of my friends, close friends, like, two people that I'll say was super close friends in my life, ended up taking their own life, in suicide. And yeah, that was a lot to process and a lot to take. And I just thought, each one teach one, son help son, daughter raise daughter, let's spread peace and love in the new world order. So an old rhyme, but an old saying that we got to live by, right? Each one teach one. Like, how can I help? Everybody wants to see the world be a better place, but what are we actually willing to do to make it a better place? Like, what am I willing to do? Am I just here for the talk? Where I'm here to actually make a difference. So that's when I decided to put more of my focused attention and my focused knowledge into this space of behavioral awareness and self-development, self-leadership, self-love, to kind of get some more answers. Figure out where I was, figure out where other people were, why they were there, how they got there. Or did they choose to? Was it environments? Was it things that sort of drove their behavior to get there? And if they want to change, like, what do you want to change into? I remember growing up as a youth and people would be like, just think positive, Mike, just think positive. And, for a day or for a couple of hours or for a day, that might work for me. But then it's like, hang on a sec. What does that even mean? Okay, I'm facing these problems, I'm facing these struggles, and you're telling me, think positive, everything's going to be good. Just look at the positive side. And it's like, well, that's actually a skill to be able to differentiate the negative and the positive and, the harmful from the, the supportive and all of those types of things. So it was a matter of, really working that out and then wanting to share that knowledge with other people so that we can, I truly believe, it might sound cliche, but I do believe that we can make the world a better place. But it starts with each and one of us, as I'm sure you agree, Maydad,
I do agree. I do agree.
Individuals, and if we're not doing it ourselves, then I can't blame anybody else. You know what I mean? I can't blame a politician. I can't blame some leader. I can't blame some athlete. It's up to us as human beings to make that difference,
Yeah, it starts with us. And like you said, like, behaviors don't develop overnight. They develop over periods of time, whether it starts at home, with the environment that you're exposed to, etc. But Mike, what do you love so much about this work that you do? I know you spoke to me before about the soul revival and the universal freedom technique that you use with people that you work with. Can you share a little bit about that?
I mean, yeah, for sure, man. But I guess, it's a big question. Like, what do I love about it? It's, it's that sense of belonging. It kind of, as we know, like, there's this fundamental needs that we all have, right? The need to be seen, the need to be heard, the need to be listened to, the need to belong, to feel sort of significance, and all these kind of things. So I find for me, it's part of my purpose. It's part of something bigger than myself. So it connects me to a higher purpose, like it's my purpose. and it's mine, but it's also part of humanity. So it's connecting me as an individual to the collective, you know, and that collective philosophy of many indigenous cultures and African cultures for sure, and cultures around the world is a big thing, you know. So being part of, and it's a big thing in even in individualistic societies such as Australia or America, but that's why we have sporting teams and, you know, boxing clubs, or, you know, churches and things. People want to come and they want to belong, right?
They want to belong to a community. Yeah.
We need to belong. It's a human drive, you know, to belong to a community and to belong to something bigger than ourselves. So I find that it really provides me with that in a meaningful way, that I get. Like, I don't want to say that and act like a hypocrite and say that I'm just doing this out of the goodness of my heart and I don't get anything out of it. I do. And I will admit I get reward, I get self-validation, I get, you know, love, I get a sense of fulfillment, a sense of purpose, a sense of drive out of this. And that's a wonderful thing for me as well. So that's what I really love about it. And, you know, when it does hit home, you know, making a difference in somebody's life, I always like to say that in this area, because I mean, if we take the criticism, the glory, we also got to take the criticism, right? So I like to say that, you know, the work is done by the person, you know. So essentially, I'm the scalpel, but the client is the surgeon. You know, my job is to stay as sharp as possible, to be the best flashlight, the best screwdriver, whatever tool is needed in that situation. But they're doing the work. They know themselves. They're the expert in themselves, you know. So yeah, I say that to say that you know, I really enjoy learning the skills and helping people, but I'm reluctant to say that I've done the work. You know, my skills and the knowledge that I've gained has helped people gain clarity and do the work on themselves. So if that makes sense, if you're following what I'm saying there.
No,
Yeah.
it's every coach, every practitioner, and expert has their own philosophy and vision on how they facilitate or how they project what, you know, what they're talking about and what they actually do in their practice. And that's your way, and it's beautiful. I love it. I love the
It's certainly
universal freedom technique.
It's certainly part of my way, because it's not about me fixing somebody. I don't want to have that savior complex. It's sort of like the Cartman drama triangle, you know. So I like to step outside of that drama triangle and hold on to the, like, you know, just a belief that this person can conquer anything, can achieve anything, can do anything, and I'm sending all of that to them. But it's up to them, you know. Like, I'm not the persecutor, I'm not the victim, you know what I mean, and I'm not the rescuer. Like, I'm not there to rescue the person. I'm there just to guide, and they're the ones who are leading themselves, right? But yeah, things like, you know, things like soul retrieval, who I learned through Benjamin J. Harvey, is a great technique. It's a lot of this stuff is quite similar. It's I guess an ancient form that you could say ancient, but with a modern twist. So it combines you know, hypnotherapy, it combines some shamanism, combines timeline therapy. You know, so essentially you're going, you know, you're going back to an event, and you're looking at that event from different perspectives to see what is real, you know, to see if you can gain any wisdom out of it, to see if you can see the positive side of it, to see what skills you gained out of it. You know, so you're kind of looking at the event. So it's been a traumatic event. You're going to look at the event like it's a movie and just stay still and just watch it, to see it on play, to stay unattached as possible in that stage. Then you're going to step into the movie and relive the event. Then you're going to rise above it and look down at the movie as the actors all play out the people in that and get the wisdom. Anyway, there's 5 key steps to it. And yeah, you're going to come out of that with a greater sense of, well, basically what we're trying to do there is neutralize the emotion, because, you know, we can become attached to these emotions, right, and to these ideas of wrong and wrong, right and wrong, and this person did this to me, and that person did that to me, and that was good and that was bad, and this is shameful and this is negative. And you know, but really what it is an event that we can learn from. Like, we can't change what has happened. You know, the cliche is we can only change the way that we view it, but this is as true as the day is long, you know. But there are techniques in the ways that we can change the way that we look at it, to neutralize it, to balance it out. You know, one of the most powerful laws of the universe is just that, you know. So you get gravity, you know, weak force, strong force, and then you know, oh my goodness, well, I can't blank on the term, but basically neutralizing the universe is always seeking to balance itself out. You know, we have yin, we have yang, right? We have man, we have woman, we have day, we have night, all of these things, right? So the universe is constantly at work trying to stay in balance. And the same is for our emotions. You know, if we get emotionally charged, thinking it's negative, well, it will be, but we can also bring it back into alignment and ease and take that pain, take that stress away. Like Dr. Candace Pert said, you know, talking about the mind-body collaboration, like the mind is the body is the mind. You know, we store these emotions, these charged things, you know, deep, and it can cause they have somatic repercussions and they impact our body. You know, I'm sure most of us out there before at one point or another experienced a tension headache. You know, I've got those knots in our stomach when we're really, you know, stressing about something. So that's literally saying our mind is thinking something and it's impacting our body, right? So this can happen. So the goal of all of this is to neutralize that, to come back to a state of peace, to a state of equilibrium, polarization, so that we can move forward with greater ease through life and take on our goals without this extra burden, this extra stress, you know, this extra weight that sometimes it feels like, which it actually isn't, but it feels that way, you know?
No, that's really interesting, a beautiful way of putting it. You are right. We're always trying to balance something out, and it's really interesting. Anything that we do when we get a huge hit of dopamine, eventually that comes down, and naturally serotonins and that balance themselves up, and the other side comes up. So it's like an yin yang situation, you know. Sometimes we're emotional, sometimes we're happy, and when we're feeling negative, we do whatever we can do to balance it out. It's like anything in life. It's like people gaining weight, wanting to lose weight, and but it has so much to do with our mental awareness. And I think our cognitive bias has a lot to do with some of the stuff that you were saying and our environment. And that's, I see it in what you're talking about today, even with the stuff that you were sharing, your culture, your background, your beliefs. It all comes out in a person, whether they like to admit it or not. It's a natural thing, you know. And it's like the flavor of a watermelon coming out, or the flavor of a pineapple coming out. It is what it is. And people have their own, beliefs, their own cultures, and their own makeup, and it comes out in everything they do. And I see that in you a lot, in even sitting you looking at the background behind you, and just the stuff that you've been talking about, and the stuff that you've shared so far in this short Zoom. But Mike, can you share any great experiences where you've had in working with a client? You don't have to mention anybody's names, but have seen some great transformations, or some great things happening that you could share with some of our viewers today?
Yeah, I guess so, man. And just to finish off on what you were saying there, the word that I forgot was electromagnetism, right? So that's what it is, the universal law of electromagnetism, where everything is always seeking its balance, you know. And for sure, we all have our own biases, no doubt about it. We're constantly judging our environment. I think that's an important thing to acknowledge. And I think when we can acknowledge it and have an awareness of it, then we can see, is it actually true or is it actually false? Am I judging this based on what history has told me, or am I judging it based on what I'm feeling? But like, we can really get to the root cause of it. But like, if I see a king brown snake 100 meters away or 1 meter away from me, I'm going to judge that differently. If I see a car driving down a 60-mile-an-hour zone doing 150 kilometers an hour, I'm going to stop and step back. I'm judging that car because it could potentially kill me. If I'm going to go down the street and turn left down a dark alleyway where there's, some people looking like they're doing drugs, and I'm going to think twice about it because I'm judging that environment based on, the self-preservation, right? And my experience and wanting to stay alive in that moment. And yeah, and I think we all do that. It's just a matter of coming to a level of understanding, right? And meeting people where they're at, not where we want them to be, not where we're projecting them to be, like you're saying, right? So, we all, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. So if I'm thinking, oh, that group of people is this because I saw it on TV, then that's going to be my reality, and I'm going to judge them based on that. But if I say, hang on, who taught me that? Where did I learn that from? How did I get to that belief? Is it true, Mike? Actually, no, I met somebody the other day, and you start to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and then you can have that judgment of what some people would call Christ consciousness, universal consciousness, where you're sort of on a level and being able to see things for what they are without your own complex biases, judging it too much.
I really like the way you shared in relations to what you said about the soul retrieval method by Benjamin J. Harvey, where you said that you shared tonight about timeline therapy, sitting back at similar timeline therapy and strategy that I've learned to use as well with some of my studies with behavioral science as a wellness coach, and being able to sit back and view and watch the movie and then partake in the movie and then get yourself right outside the bubble, right outside the space above the event, and look down on the event and be able to view it in slow motion and see the characters playing out. So I think sometimes when we just pull ourselves out of the situation and just take a moment to view it, everything looks differently. And even if we do come back with a similar view of what we originally did, I guarantee it won't be so aggressive or harmful to the outcome.
Yes, agreed. It won't be as charged. Absolutely. So a perfect analogy of that is, so let's say we're driving in a busy Sydney street. We're going down George Street or something like that, and it's a rainy day. Or younger audiences, you can insert Ubers here. I'm talking about taxis, and we're driving down the street, right? And all of a sudden, we see there's a taxi driver in front of us, slams on the brakes instantly, as they do, and what's our first reaction?
What are you doing, mate?
What are you doing, mate? What's going on, taxi driver, you bloody idiot? But as I say, it's a rainy day. And have you ever been somewhere that you needed, in a situation where you needed to get to somewhere urgently? So you're waiting to get to an international airport, and you're standing there with your family, you're at the hotel, you missed the bus, and you're waiting for a miracle. And you see this taxi, and you stick out your hand and you go, taxi! And this taxi stops and you go, yes! Right, so what are you thinking in that situation?
Elated.
Elated, thank goodness. There's a taxi driver, right? And then the taxi driver's, thinking, great, I got a fare. I could, I'm making money. I could put the kids through school, whatever it is, And then we just say there's another person who's just sitting in a hotel, just on the sixth floor above, just looking down, having their breakfast, just watching all this. And they're just kind of going, humans are funny. This guy at the back's tooting the taxi driver. The taxi driver's immune. He can't even hear, or she can't even hear the people tooting the horn because they just blocked that out. They've heard it so many times, And the taxi driver's thinking, great, I'm paying rent. This person, the other person's thinking, great, we're going to make the airport in time to see our family and our relatives and have a wonderful time. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who would you most rather be in that situation, Probably prefer to be the person up above who can look at it with a sense of levity, with a sense of lightness, and sort of look down and laugh at it and go, oh, wow, this person's attached to this meaning. This person's attached to this meaning about money. This person's attached to this meaning. And I'm just here watching it all, learning, So this is the same thing, as we say, with timeline therapy. Exactly. I'm just saying it to reinforce what you were saying as well. And what we're talking about with soul retrieval is that when we've got that perspective, we can take it out. We can take the meaning out. We can pick and choose, when we're not so attached to it, it's not so rigid, and that's where a lot of the pain comes,
Look, I think over time, as we get older, I think earlier in this conversation, you were talking about we're all trying to balance things out. I think we'll always be trying to balance things out. My father just got diagnosed with cancer, and he's we're all trying to balance his life out. We're all trying to balance our life out to be able to give the best of ourselves to him and to accommodate anything that is needed. And, so we're constantly always evolving through struggles, through adversity, through triumph, through joy. And we're always trying to accommodate something. I watched something really interesting on social media that came up. It just popped out of nowhere while I was creating a post for my gym today, for my business here in Bondi. And some guy was talking about a rich person. When a poor person looks at a rich person, he's always going to say, I wish I'll do anything to get rich. And when the rich person is rich, he thinks to himself, wow, I wish I didn't have so much drama and so much tax to pay, I had such an easier life when I wasn't rich. And it's the same with a person who is single. The second person always wants to get into a relationship and get married, have kids, etc., and not being able to think about or even analyze or realize the complexity and the demands of being married, of having children, being in a long-term relationship and being committed, where a married person could turn around and say, look, if only I was single, my life was so much easier. So I think we're all searching, like you said, we're all searching for that perfect balance, whether it be finance, whether it be love, whether it be health, whether it be just getting good quality sleep. We had a great person on Zoom a couple of months back, Dr. Mark Levi, and he spoke about in America, they're diagnosing kids with different conditions and stuff like that. And like they've got ADD and stuff like that, but really these kids don't have ADD, because one of the most important things that is attributed to attention deficit syndrome is lack of sleep. So when you have sleep deprivation, that is so related to ADD. And if those young people just got good quality sleep, it would fix the problem. It would solve the problem. It's not rocket science. But there's no ongoing education to teach young kids today to nasal breathe. Everybody's left to their own devices to mouth breathe and develop bad habits until they get older and sort some form of education under their own merits and desires and their own journeys to learn how to breathe correctly. But
absolutely. No, that's a great example. And yeah, everybody is so easy, especially in this culture of social media and everything, right? Where people are looking at other people's lives and wishing in that. And, a friend of mine told me a great saying, it stuck with me for a long time, whereas, the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it.
that's so
And
true.
it's a relationship, for example, it's work, single people thinking they wish they had a relationship. Okay, well, relationships come with their ups and downs, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, very true. Very true.
You have to be one thing I've learned in life, in anything to be successful, you have to be very accommodating. You have to be accommodating to your parents, accommodating to your partner, accommodating to your kids, accommodating to yourself. Some days you don't want to get up and go to work, but you do it and you do it mindfully. So today I'm not going to train. This morning I didn't train. I did my breath work. I'm not going to train. Okay, yesterday I was fine. Some days are great, but you just got to accommodate what you need to accommodate at that particular time. If you can take care of what the important things are for that moment, and you're kicking goals, and that's what it's all about. And I'm not talking about kicking goals, earning money or etc., but just doing what you love doing and being true to yourself. But Mike, I know
absolutely.
there's so much you share, and our audience are going to love watching this back. I know that some of them would probably want to know how to get a hold of you, and if they do want to learn more about the work that you do, the soul retrieval work and the universal freedom technique, how would they get a hold of you? Do you have a social media page, like Facebook page, Instagram page? And if you do, could you please share tonight with our audience?
Yeah, for sure. And just to wrap it up previously quickly, I do remember you asked me a question about personal success stories and all that kind of stuff. For me, look, I've been blessed to work with a few people, and I'll on social media in the coming days, I'll put up a few testimonials. So I'll just leave it up to for the people to speak. As we've studied in some good places together, so we've learned some tools. We know the tools work. I like to keep my skills as sharp as possible. So, and then yeah, really it's about connecting with the person, right, and having that trust and that rapport and that depth to allow them space to get whatever they need to get out of it, you know. So having said that, social media, I am MikeJustice on Instagram. I am MikeJustice, just so I am MikeJustice. I'll have to do a few updates on there and put up the testimonials as well. And on Facebook, you can find me at MikeJusticeJames. MikeJusticeJames. Website is being developed. I think it's down at this second, but it's Coach Mike James. Yeah, I believe. Or I'll put the link. By the time this comes up, I'll put the link in there properly. Yeah, man, and just you can reach out to me on socials. There's a whole bunch of different modalities, from the hypnosis to the ones you mentioned, to working with the shadow side of ourselves. You know, we all like to present the golden values, but we often suppress the shadow side of ourselves. But the shadow is fully us. So
it's
as much as we can.
It's like going to a nightclub and trying to impress a girl that all they want to do is know is the good side. What do you do for work? How much do you earn? What car do you drive?
Yes.
Where do you live?
Yes.
Absolutely. But
absolutely.
I think when you understand, when you've got, when you can share that shadow and feel comfortable in society and own that shadow, regardless what your
absolutely
that is,
own it and work with it, have a laugh at it when it shows up, or see that it's popping up. It could be a form of a trigger, so you become aware of it and you can change your behavior with just a few little tips like that. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things. Working with some athletes as well. So yeah, you can check me out on social media. Doing work in New Zealand, the UK, the US, and Australia. So yeah, so there's a few things happening, slowly but surely. Yeah.
That's great, Mike. And where are you based, Mike?
I am based in Brisbane,
awesome.
Australia. Yeah. So
well, there you go, everybody. MikeJustice James sharing a little bit about his journey and what he's been up to. And it's great having you here tonight, Mike. Before we close tonight's show, let me just share with you, on the 7th of December, I'll be running my Nimbus Footprints Retreat. It's a half-day Footprints Retreat, which basically a retreat that runs from 6 a.m. in the morning to about 11, just before midday. And the day starts where we'll be doing yoga just before sunrise with our yoga practitioner and coach, Emily. And we'll be doing human movement and breath work before we go back to the gym at Bondi Boxing Gym, where we'll be doing human movement workouts from boxing, functional training, and core training. It is a really good workout and a fun workout where clients will be served breakfast, some healthy foods from Up South Cafe, and we'll be going over some vision sessions that I take clients through, talking about neurotransformation therapy, submodalities, a personal internal representation, and your trajectory. From there, we'll be moving on to Nimbus Health Center, where we'll be doing our ice baths and concluding the session with some detoxing smoothies and acai bowls. This is going to be an amazing day. I'm really looking forward to it. I've only got 4 spots left. And if you want to learn more about this half-day retreat, it is a great introduction to our 3-day retreat, the Footprints Retreat, which is usually held 2 to 3 times a year. If you want to learn more, DM me or simply send us a message at ynvhealthandwellness@hotmail.com, or look me up at Instagram, Mayday Ronan's Coaching, or Facebook, Mayday Ronan's Coaching, or simply call me on 0402 622 662. Other than that, Mike, it's great having you here, and I look forward to catching up with you in person, and have an amazing week.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you having me. And everybody who's in Sydney, who's all around the area, get along to Maydad's event. He's a legend, absolute superstar at what he does. Great spirit, great energy, and yeah, really good connector and motivator of people. So I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it, And
Thank you, Mike.
I can't wait to be down. I can't wait to be in Sydney to get amongst it as well.
Yeah, come down and see me. Maybe we can do something here. Come and say hello. We'll catch up and get the boat rocking. But yeah, I also this weekend I've got a boxing workshop out at No Quarters Boxing Club on Saturday morning. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I know some of you guys, like Nadia, yourself, and Stanford, probably want to get some dinner. So I value your time and I'm going to let you go. Thanks for joining me and have an amazing week. And until next time, take care and have a good night.